AMP2.TV presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Hi, welcome. This is Lorena Anderson, and I'm here with AMP2 TV Productions, and we are here for You and Your Doctor, specifically living a longer and healthier life, sponsored by All County Healthcare, Inc., a certified home care agency. This show is going to be airing every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m., so please join us. Also, we happen to have call-in numbers, so if you'd like to participate in our radio show, give us a call, 888-565-1470. Again, 888-565-1470. So welcome, it is great. Also, you can view the show at WNNradio.com or allcountyhealth.com. Please join us. Be part of this. We're going to have some of the most amazing individuals that are going to help educate you and inform you as to what it is concerning your healthcare needs. And also, we have today Sandy Jacobson. And Sandy happens to be an insurance specialist, licensed agent, and he deals with health, life annuities, LTCs, and Medicare. And so he's going to give us some additional information, some deep information that we need to know about how insurance and Medicare work. And also, which policy that's going to serve you the best. So welcome, Sandy, please.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be here. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been a licensed independent broker here in the South Florida area for the past 18 years. My specialty is in Medicare and helping seniors to go on to Medicare and pick the best plans available for them.
That's so important. Absolutely necessary.
Yes, and what I'd like to do actually is just start by maybe explaining a little bit about Medicare and how it works.
Okay, great.
Okay, so actually Medicare is a government-sponsored health plan, started in 1966, and it was to be a benefit to seniors age 65 and older. It currently consists of 4 parts: Medicare Part A, B, C, and D. Part A is through the federal government, okay? Part A includes coverage if you're admitted into the hospital, if you are released from the hospital and need to go into a skilled nursing facility after being in the hospital, it covers you there. Now, there's Part B. Part B is also through the federal government.
Okay.
And Part B covers you with almost everything outside of the hospital except for prescription drugs. There's another plan for that, which we'll get into.
Okay, great.
Okay. Then there's Part C, which is a little bit newer. It's been around a little while now, and that's called Medicare Advantage plans, which I will get into shortly.
Okay.
And then you have Medicare Part D. That's the drug plan. And that will cover your prescription drugs outside of the hospital. In the hospital, your Medicare Part A will cover those drugs.
Okay, so Part A is mainly just for the hospital.
Correct.
Okay,
yes,
great.
It's admitted into the hospital.
Admitted
okay?
into the hospital.
Yes,
okay,
if you're
great.
admitted, okay? And Part B is for outpatient doctor visits, outpatient testing, surgeries, home health care, things like that, yeah.
Now, who qualifies for Medicaid?
Medicare. Okay. People that are turning 65 are eligible, and people that are on disability can be eligible for Medicare.
Okay, great. So talk to us a little bit more about the differences between, because I've heard a lot about the Medicare Part A, Part B, and then the Medicare Advantage program. Can you talk about that a little bit more? I mean,
Well,
what's
sure.
the difference
Yeah.
in those?
Well, there's a lot of difference between them, okay? And I'll speak. First, there's original Medicare, traditional Medicare. That's Medicare A and B sponsored through the federal government, okay? And the way it works is this. In the hospital, okay, Medicare A covers you. However, you have some out-of-pocket costs. They have what's called gaps in the federal government plans, okay? For example, if you go in the hospital, you're going to experience a deductible of $1,288. That's your responsibility to pay.
Okay.
After that, Medicare begins to pay 100% of most of your costs up to for the first 60 days. After that, you're going to experience some copays, which are pretty steep. The longer you're in, the more out of pocket you can have. Okay. Part B covers you outside the hospital, where Medicare is going to pay 80% of most of those costs. You're going to be responsible for 20% of the remainder. Okay. And there's no cap on how much out of pocket you can have in a year.
Okay.
That's where you need what's called Medigap or Medicare supplement plans that will help fill in those gaps.
I see. Okay, so that's why it's so essential then to really take a look at the supplemental plans that they're offering as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's very important to tie in Medicare supplement plans with the traditional A and B because there is some substantial gaps that you can have in the federal Medicare, okay? There's a number of supplement plans that you can choose from, okay? You can choose plans that are very, very rich in benefits to where you'll have absolutely no out-of-pocket, whether you go in the hospital, you go to the doctor, you need surgery, skilled nursing, whatever. It'll fill in all the gaps and pays 100%. You have no out-of-pocket. To plans that you have cost sharing. Obviously, the richer the benefit, the more expensive the premium is. But believe it or not, you can get plans, supplement plans, along with a drug plan for under $100 a month.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Starting at under $100 a month, depending on the coverage that you choose. Now, with supplement plans, I'm going to tell you, traditional Medicare and supplements is that there's no networks for doctors or hospitals. You can go to any doctor you choose.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
which is
very
really
interesting. Yeah, that is really interesting because I know that a lot of the HMOs, you have to be in network. You cannot come out of network, and if you do, you're paying a big premium to be able to go to your own doctor. You have to choose somebody that's inside that network. So continue. Sorry.
Okay, that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Now with the traditional Medicare and supplement, yes, you can go to any doctor. Anywhere, no referrals are needed.
Anywhere in the country?
Anywhere in the
You're
country
kidding.
that accepts Medicare.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you have a cancer and you want to go to the best facility, which is probably MD Anderson in
that's what I was gonna say.
Texas. And guess what? You can go there.
Really?
Sure. And you're covered. Same thing. You want to go, you need, let's say, open heart surgery, something like that, that's critical.
Right.
You choose the best doctor you want to perform that surgery. That's why traditional Medicare and supplements are so powerful, so good for people.
Wow.
Actually, it's some of the best coverage you can get in this country.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
now
Great.
with Advantage plans, okay?
Now that's Medicare Part C then.
That is correct.
Okay. Because I really want to make sure that my audience knows the difference between all those. Because when they have the opportunity of being able to choose a particular plan, I'd love for them to be so informed so that they don't make a mistake. So, okay, continue with the Advantage plan.
Sure. With Medicare Advantage plans, okay, the difference is that they do have networks of doctors and hospitals. Most plans, you do have to stay in network, okay? You do have to pick a primary doctor. Most of these plans, you do need to get referrals from your primary to see a specialist. If you need certain treatments done, oftentimes, not only does your doctor have to suggest it, but the insurance company that is the carrier for your plan has the power to approve or not approve the coverage.
You're
Yes,
kidding.
they do.
So even if your doctor ends up giving you a referral, the insurance company can continually come back and say, well, we're not quite sure. Who makes those decisions?
Well,
oh, my goodness.
They have a department within the insurance company, which consists of doctors and so on and nurses that they make those decisions based on the medical records they see. Okay, and if they don't feel like it's absolutely necessary, it could be rejected.
Oh, my gosh.
With traditional Medicare and supplements, the doctor makes that decision.
Well, and who would you want to make that decision? You surely don't want somebody who hasn't even seen you, who's just reading a bunch of papers.
Well, it's pretty scary,
Yeah, it is.
But that's how the system works.
And not only that, but I mean, from what you're saying, there's a serious time element that you're putting into that as well. I mean, I know personally that sometimes when you have to go back to your doctor to get a referral and then to get on the schedule again, I mean, if you're seriously ill, that's the difference between life and death.
Well, you've got that right. And there can be a long waiting period before you get that approval.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have no clue. Some of these the insurance companies, they're such huge conglomerates. I mean, I know personally because one of my dearest friends, I'm helping her a little bit on her end, and we've sat on the phone for over an hour waiting to get pre-certified or approval or referral form, for one of the patients that are coming in that's got big scars on the face because they had fallen and hurting themselves. And most of these are, from Medicare. So, oh my gosh, okay. Oof.
Yeah.
So listen, audience, this is what's really, really important. You really want to make sure that before you make any kind of decision or choice, please give Sandy Jacob a call. Sandy, why don't you give us your telephone number?
Sure. Actually, I'm located in Delray Beach. I service all of the South Florida area, and I can be reached at 561-450-6557.
Okay. And please give him a call, okay, free of charge. He's just going to help educate you so that you make sure that you have the exact plan that's going to serve your needs the best, okay? Because what happens if they don't make the right choice?
Well,
share with us that.
What happens is actually when you're turning 65, it's the most important time to make the correct decision for you because if you choose to go on an Advantage plan, let's say, okay, and you want to, after a period of time, you decide that a traditional Medicare and a supplement would be better coverage for you. Well, at that time, you're going to have to qualify health-wise. Okay, you're going to have to answer health questions.
Okay.
And if you answer no to a certain question, they may not accept you. So you're going to be stuck on an Advantage plan that you may not be happy with.
Wow.
Okay. That can happen. So it's most important that you make that best decision when you're turning 65. Now, there are times during the year, there's called an open enrollment period, where if you've made a decision for a particular plan and you want to change it, you can change it during that open enrollment period.
When is that open enrollment period?
Each year, it's between October 15th and December 7th, and your new plan would become effective on January 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, so you do have the ability to do that. However, you're taking a risk if you don't pick the right plan the first time, because if you do become ill, you may not be able to change that plan at a later time.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so it is very important that you make good decisions at that time. Yeah. And I would recommend that before you sign anything, that you would contact me for a free review of the plan, and I can help you to make a good decision at that time.
Excellent. Also, what is the difference in the cost? The original Medicare versus the Advantage plan. Is there a difference in cost on that?
Yes, there is. There is.
Okay.
Yeah. Medicare Part A is free. Okay.
That sounds like a no-brainer.
Well, it really wasn't free. You paid into it your whole life, but right now you're not paying premiums.
Okay, so far, yeah.
Okay. Now, Part B, there is a charge. It's based on your income, but typically that monthly premium is about $123 per month. And it's very important to have Part B. Now, whether you take traditional Medicare or you go to an Advantage plan, you are still required to have Part B, and you're going to have to pay that premium of about $123 per month.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, with a supplement plan, as I mentioned before, you can purchase a supplement plan and a Part D drug plan beginning at under $100 per month, and you can have exceptional coverage. That's correct.
Wow.
Now, with an Advantage plan, that is probably the one benefit that you get over traditional Medicare is the premium, okay? The premiums typically are very low, okay? That's to entice you to come onto the plan, okay?
Okay.
And they're very low, but there's trade-offs for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's so limited, though. It's incredibly limited because of all the time elements that are thrown into there. You know, I mean, you cannot get to your specialist unless you go make an appointment with your primary, and good luck getting in on that, by the way, because a lot of times they're so booked up and everything because they've got a patient every 10 minutes. Right? I mean, have you ever gone in there? You go, oh my God, when are they going to call my number? I had an appointment at 6 o'clock, and what time is it now? You know, it's 10 minutes to 6. I show up early. There's 25 people before me. You know, so it can get really kind of crazy. So go ahead. Okay. Now listen, audience, this is really, really important. Okay. You have to make sure that you pick the right plan. And not only that, but you have to make sure that that plan is going to serve you the best way. Because as Sandy was saying, you can't really shift it until you have open enrollment. And sometimes if you happen to be in the hospital at that moment, you have no choice. It's almost like a pre-existing condition, correct?
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Keep going with the Advantage plan.
Well, with the Advantage plan, also you have typically what's called narrow networks of providers, doctors, hospitals.
Yeah.
You have to typically stay in your service area. If you go outside of your area, you aren't going to have any coverage unless it is a true emergency.
So if I was, say, I'm living in South Florida, and I was to go to Illinois back to my family, and something serious happened to me there, I might not be covered?
You may not. It depends on what the issue is, okay? If it is a true emergency that's life-threatening, yeah, you're going to get coverage. If not, it can be denied.
Oh, my goodness.
By the Advantage plan, okay? Not by a traditional Medicare and a supplement, because remember,
you can go
anywhere you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent advice. Very interesting. Please make sure that you give Sandy a call. And also, if there is anybody that has any questions, please call us now at 888-565-1470, 1470. And you can also view this TV show on WNNradio.com and allcountyhealth.com. So please come on. Ask us any questions about insurance. Now, I've got the man, the expert here, and he can help you make sure that the plan is correct. And even if you are in a plan that you're not very happy with, he can also help you during open enrollment. So please give him a call. It's free of charge. So,
yeah, I just wanted to add also that I can help people to pick the best Part D drug plan for themselves based on the medication that they take. I have a program that I can do that for them as well. Yeah.
That is fabulous, because a lot of times, one program only highlights these specific drugs, and the next plan only those specific drugs, and it's so confusing.
All of Medicare to enroll is confusing. I've helped so many people that have been very thankful that I was there to help them, because it is confusing, and it's hard to do it on your own and make those good decisions and know what you need.
Yes.
So I've guided quite a few people to make those good decisions and get the good coverage, the best coverage that we could get for them.
That sounds wonderful. And it's really, really important to have that flexibility. I mean, okay, when you're 65 and you're making this big decision and everything, a lot of times it can be so confusing. I mean, and that goes for anybody. you know, whether or not you happen to be an executive owning their own business or someone who is working for a particular company. And, you know, we're also dealing with some issues of health or maybe memory issues. I mean, your services are so valuable and so necessary at this time. And even somebody, you know, who has been provided with insurance through their company for so many years, and a lot of times they don't even know what they have. All they know is that, oh, I might have a $20 copay. You know, I can go get my prescriptions for $20, and they really don't have any clue. So
that's true. And I find so many times that when I start to work with somebody, they have no idea how Medicare works. So that's the first thing we do is I have a chart, and I walk them through, and they can watch me, they can follow it right on paper. And I walk them through and show them how actually Medicare, all the different parts of Medicare work together. And that's very helpful, they find. That,
because at least it's almost like a roadmap then. You know, and they can visualize it, because sometimes you have to see it. You know, just talking about it still is vague in the head. So, but I'm a very visual person, so I like to see something in black and white so I can digest it, and it's so important. So good for you. What else can you tell us?
Well, as you can probably tell, I'm an advocate for traditional Medicare and Medicare supplements, and the reason why is because I have found that it is truly the best coverage you're going to be able to get, and it can make a difference. I can tell you this, that on a number of occasions, I've had people referred to me that were on an Advantage plan and had a serious illness, and they found that their health care was not what they wanted. They weren't happy with it for whatever reason, whether it was the doctor or the treatment. Maybe they couldn't get a procedure, several different reasons. But they've come to me asking me for my help to get them back onto traditional Medicare and a supplement. And they just had a serious illness. I can't help them at that point. So they're stuck. And it's very frustrating, but that's how it works.
Yes, yeah. The other important thing, too, that I wanted to mention is that when you have Medicare and you also have the supplement, you can continue going to your same doctor. Okay, you don't have to come away and go someplace else. Because a lot of times, you know, these individuals have had the same doctor for 20 or 30 years. The change is dramatic and traumatic to them, especially if they're not feeling well. So, you know, thank you so much. I mean, that's really, really important information. And can you give us your name and the name of your company again and how they get a hold of you?
Sure, I'll be happy to.
Okay, great.
Again, I'm Sandy Jacobson. I'm in Delray Beach. However, I service all of South Florida, and I can be reached at 561-450-6557.
Okay, and how about an email address?
Yes, and you can email me at sj1266@att.net.
Okay, super. That's wonderful. And please give him a call. He's here to help educate you. He wants the best for you, and he is the expert in his field to be able to do that for you. So if at any time you want to give him a call, please do. He's got great bedside manners. That's what I have to tell you. And he's not so bad to look at either.
Thank you.
So please give him a call. I'm so grateful that you're here with us. And this is what our show's going to be like. We're going to be bringing in experts, doctors, to help you be able to make the good decisions in your health care, and also to be able to help you live longer and healthier. And please remember, this is being sponsored by All County Healthcare, Inc., a certified home care agency. We are going to be airing every Tuesday from 6 to 7, so please join us.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.TV.
So if you believe you can or believe you can't, what do you believe? Who is the only person who stops you? You. If you're not moving forward in your life, either personal or business, then it's time to shift your energy, releasing your negativity and stepping into your positivity with strength and confidence is your freedom to experience your goals and visions that have been waiting for you. Let's shift your energy with Lorena Anderson's proven and powerful skill set so that once and for all, you can live your dreams. Call Lorena at her office, 954-647-5525, or email her at lorenaanderson@gmail.com. You can also visit her website at theenergyshifter.com. All County Healthcare is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
And we're back. Welcome back. We're at AMP2 TV Productions, and we are here, You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, sponsored by All County Healthcare, Inc., a certified home care agency. At this moment, we happen to have a guest, Ed Salazar, and he's got all these wonderful little titles behind his name, all these. Please, share with me what you do.
Well, I'm a registered respiratory therapist. I'm also a registered polysomnography technologist, which is just a long word and a fancy name for a sleep tech.
Oh, sleep tech, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Could you say that again?
No,
Slower?
I probably couldn't. But we sit up all night, watch people sleep. And,
oh, there you go. That sounds pretty good.
We do diagnostic studies to determine if they have a sleep disorder, as well as therapeutic studies to see if their disorder can be corrected.
Okay.
I've lived in South Florida since 1972. I worked here, went to school here, and it's my home.
Excellent. So, explain to us a little bit more about your profession. How long have you been in business for yourself? Also, give us how we can locate you.
Well,
your name, your telephone number, your email address, all that fun stuff. Sorry.
Well, I've worked as a respiratory therapist, as I said, for over 40 years now in South Florida. 15 years ago, I always tell people I was seduced by the dark side and went into medical equipment sales. I stuck primarily with respiratory lines, ventilators and things like that. I formed my own corporation in 2002, EJ Salazar and Associates, and we, primarily are medical distributors, medical manufacturer distributors for equipment, ventilators and such.
Okay, great. And how do they get a hold of you?
Well, my cell number is 561-239-2417. My email would be ejsalazar64@outlook.com.
Okay, great. Again, we have a an expert in respiratory function with us so that you can learn a little bit more about what is going on, what you need to know. I mean, talk to us about percussionary corp. What exactly is percussionary corp?
Well, when you and I were talking at the break, Percussionary Corporation is a company located in the beautiful, pristine panhandle of Idaho, Sandpoint, Idaho.
Wow, okay.
The founder of the company, Dr. Forrest Bird, was a pioneer in the development of therapeutic techniques for treating various lung disease. His passion, and what has become my passion as well, is the treatment of COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
Okay.
It's a huge problem in the United States. Right now, there's a big initiative by CMS, Senators for Medicare and Medicaid, to reduce readmissions for recurrent admissions for the same diagnosis. In other words, somebody gets admitted to the hospital for a certain diagnosis, they get treated, they go home, and within a very short period of time, they're readmitted. COPD is one of the leading offenders.
Really?
It's a big problem in Florida.
Wow.
Currently, according to ACA, which is a regulatory agency in Florida, there are about 68,000 admissions across the state annually for exacerbations.
Explain exacerbation.
An exacerbation would be just a dramatic decline, a significant decline in the patient's condition requiring a hospitalization.
Okay.
They decompensate to the point where they require hospitalization for treatment. So, 68,000 times a year is a big number.
That is.
But what's even more concerning to Medicare is that in the state of Florida, about 9% of those admissions are readmitted within 15 days of discharge. Now, the issue is that, the hospitals can do a good job of improving ventilation, clearing the airways, helping them get the congestion out and, using antibiotics and dilators and such. Mm-hmm. But what happens once the patient's discharged and goes home?
Mm-hmm.
Current gold standards, current therapies for COPD are primarily medications like bronchodilators, medications that are designed to relax the airways, reduce spasms, help them mobilize secretions. Steroids, anti-inflammatory medications, antibiotics, and these are given in various combinations. According to the American Lung Association, though, all the millions, about $100 million annually goes into COPD research.
Wow.
In 1999, according to the American Lung Association, there were about 120,000 of these cases in the United States. In 2009, that number had gone up to 149,000. So even with all the education that's being done on the evils of smoking and environmental issues, and with the development of new medications, outcomes, the bottom line, have not changed. They have not improved.
Really?
As a matter of fact, it's getting worse. Another interesting thing to note is that in 1999, COPD was more prevalent among males than females, but that trend has reversed. And COPD is actually more prevalent among females than males now.
Wow, that is. So describe for me a little bit what happens to an individual when they have an attack. Because, I watch TV every now and then, and I see an elephant sitting on top of some guy's chest, and I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? So can you give us a little bit more information as to what the symptoms are, what they go through, that type of thing?
Well, very simply, COPD restricts the patient's ability to ventilate properly. They cannot properly bring oxygen into their lungs, and they can't properly expel the CO2. The decreased mobility is also going to cause the secretions, which normally build up in all of us. They can't expel them the way we normally could. They have ineffective coughs, and it just becomes a death spiral.
Wow.
It just, keeps getting worse and worse. As I said before, currently patients are treated with oxygen at home. They're treated with aerosol therapies. What Percussion Air did, they developed a technology 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. They developed a technology. It's called IPV, intrapulmonary percussive ventilation. And this technology is designed to use very, very low pressure but high frequency puffs of air to open up the airways, recruit lost lung volume, and mobilize these secretions. Mm-hmm. It would be real hard to explain this on the radio.
No, you're doing great. I think everybody has gotten it, yes.
But the technology does work, and it's nothing new. As I said, it's been around for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. What is relatively new in the last 5 or 6 years mm-hmm. is that instead of relegating this technology to a last-ditch effort to
when everything else doesn't work,
when nothing
right?
else works.
Nothing else works.
Okay, they decided to try to be a little more proactive and use it, before the patient gets into such a poor state.
Yeah, because then recovery time is almost
correct.
It's so difficult, correct. And it takes so long. Especially, what is the average age of your clients that are dealing with this?
Well, most of the time they're Medicare age.
Okay, so they're over 65.
But not necessarily.
Really?
It can happen at much younger ages.
Wow.
There's actually a condition. It's alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. It's an enzyme issue where people can actually have a congenital form of emphysema, which can show up at a very young age. Well, there are a lot of case studies on this, but it's fairly rare,
Okay.
But serious
but
issue.
The majority,
for the most case, it's elderly people.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. And it's sometimes difficult for them to be able to be mobilized anyhow, let alone not being able to breathe. Mm-hmm. So okay, very interesting.
I mean, just try to imagine being air hungry all the time.
Something there was just one or two cases where I felt a little shortness of breath because I'd like to sing. So, I have great lung capacity. So I had noticed this one time, and I was feeling a little sick or down under the weather. And all of a sudden I didn't have that same lung capacity. So it was like, wait a minute, I'm running out of air really quick. And I can hold my breath for a really long time and move air really easily. So yeah, it can be awful nerve-wracking, I would think.
Sure.
It's scary.
Yeah, back in the dark ages when I was a student, we had an instructor who came in with a box of straws, and he was talking, casually, about what our assignment, what our lesson was going to be, and he was handing straws out to everybody. So everybody gets a straw, and he says, "Okay, put the straw in your mouth and breathe through it. Pinch your nose off and just breathe through the straw." So pinch your nose and breathe through the straw. He continues with the lecture. After a few minutes, we're becoming real uncomfortable. and how long are we going to do this? And he says, "Well, what if you had COPD?"
Wow.
So he was trying to give us
an experience,
example
an experience of what it's like.
What a COPD, what they experience in crisis.
Wow.
And an exacerbation.
An exacerbation. Okay, right. Got it. Okay. So more about how do they how does your company step in and help the elderly? And and here's another point. I know we just had Sandy Jacobson, talking about the insurance piece and how important it is to have the Medicare A and B, the supplemental, to be able to cover you properly for any of these difficulties that you might have. I mean, does that filter into what you're talking about as well?
Well, in the clinical situation, in acute care in hospitals, yes.
Okay.
I guess for Sandy, that would be Part A.
Yes. I remember. He's really good. I picked up on that, yes.
The problem is in Part B. Currently, when I first saw this platform, this system that can be used in the home,
okay.
All they did was that they took the same technology, and instead of relying on compressed air, which is readily available in the hospitals, oxygen and everything coming out of the walls,
right,
in order to make it practical to use in a patient's own home or in a subacute or rehab or something like that, they had to find a way to make it work without 50 psi oxygen. So they built a platform that has a self-contained compressor.
Okay.
And when I first saw this, it hit me. I said, "This is the answer. This is perfect. How come everyone's not doing this?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I found out was that the reason everyone's not doing it is because Medicare has yet to issue a billable CPT code for this to be used at home.
Oh, you're kidding!
I wish I was. No, and that's all there is to it. My late wife, at the time, was director of professional services for all county healthcare.
Oh, okay.
And I was telling her how frustrated I was that we could not get this technology, into the COPD patients that needed it the most before they declined to the point where they have to go into a hospital.
Uh-huh.
And we were relaxing over some rum runners. Maybe that's why we were thinking so well.
You're on TV. Bring your hand down. That's okay.
She looked at me and she says, "Well, could you teach a nurse to do this?"
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, of course, we can teach nurses to do this. So she talked with her boss, Lou Biazzi.
Oh, okay.
And she persuaded him to, listen to me and try to kick around a few ideas.
Uh-huh.
And let me say this. I had approached other home health agencies, without naming anybody, at least half a dozen, very large, some national Medicare home health agencies. And I explained to them what I would like to do, and none of them were interested in pursuing it simply because they didn't feel there was enough margin in it for them.
Oh.
When I talked with Mr. Biazzi, the only questions he asked me were, will this help patients?
Wow.
I said, yes, it will.
Uh-huh.
He says, can we afford to do it? I said, well, I don't know. My wife seems to think so.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, well, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. So Hall County purchased 6 of these devices.
Uh-huh.
I trained a team of nurses to give the therapy in the patient's own home.
Wow. Okay.
Now, remember earlier I was telling
the recidin rate.
I was quoting the stats on readmissions. Now, that was 9% within 15 days of discharge. All County has now been using this therapy for over 3 years. They have, as far as I know, they've run over 250 patients through this protocol. And with that number, their readmission rate of their COPD population is less than 5% for 12 months.
Oh, you're kidding.
Not 15 days, not 30 days, 12 months.
That is
so
amazing.
So they have demonstrated dramatic outcomes using this technology.
Wow.
So, any of your listeners that may know someone, may have a loved one, somebody who is struggling, with COPD. If they're Medicare recipients, they should certainly
get a hold of All County Healthcare.
Reach out to All County Healthcare. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that telephone number for All County Healthcare is 954-717-7027. And give them a call, especially if you've got somebody. I mean, I can just see kind of, some of the difficulties and sadness that you've gone through in losing your wife, and how important it is for you. I mean, really, All County is all about the client, how they can help the client have a better quality of life, and how they can extend the life and the quality as well.
Well, I am so impressed, and so I have so much respect for the organization that I've formalized my relationship with them. And so I am actually now the clinical respiratory therapist for the agency.
Oh my goodness, congratulations. Yes. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So tell us again, how do we get a hold of you? And we're also, of course, going to put up more about All County Healthcare and how the listeners, and by the way, listeners, right now, if you've got any questions about COPD, we are on the line right now. The telephone number here is 888-565-1470. Please call in. Ed would be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have concerning COPD and how he might be able to help. As a matter of fact, he is one of the experts in the field. The other thing also is that the reason why this is so important is that All County and yourself and everybody that we bring on to our show really, truly does care about the community, cares about the elderly, wants to make sure that their quality of life is full and that there is quality, because it's not so easy getting older.
we have had patients at All County who have sent letters, testimonial letters.
Oh, did
we've
you?
had family members. We had a patient, I recall, who was a snowbird. And the daughter of this COPD patient, her biggest regret was that when they went back north, they weren't going to be able to continue with this therapy because there was nobody like All County that would be willing to provide the therapy in her father's own home. We've had patients who have talked about their improvement in ADLs, activities of daily living. I can recall a patient who, before they were started on the intrapulmonary percussive ventilation protocol, they couldn't walk down to get their own mail.
You're kidding. Oh my goodness.
And after, once you recruit lost lung volume, and by that I mean, areas of the lung that aren't adequately ventilated, so they don't participate in gas exchange. You can't get the oxygen into the blood to the rest of the body, and you can't get the CO2 out. Okay. When this is improved, then the patient's exercise tolerance will improve.
I see.
We've had a couple other patients who would talk about they loved going down to the pool, but they didn't like dragging their oxygen tank with them.
Well, it is a tad embarrassing,
Right. But there were a few of those who, again, they're after going through this protocol that All County provides, their exercise tolerance improved to the point where they could do a number of activities, include be in the pool, maybe not swim laps, but be in the pool and not worrying about supplemental oxygen. It improves your quality of life by improving your sleep.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You'll sleep better. You'll digest better. Everything just gets better.
Okay, great. So this happens to be, as you just said, this happens to be the only All County Healthcare, the only person that has these machines. Are they the first ones that have had them?
Yes, they're the first ones.
You're kidding.
And so far, the only ones.
And the only ones.
Right. I'm the distributor for the entire state of Florida, so I would know.
You got a big territory there.
Yes, if somebody else was doing it.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So tell us again how we can get a hold of you.
Okay, my cell phone is on all the time. That number is 561-239-2417. And my email address would be EJ Salazar, SALAZAR, number 64, at outlook.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about, the disparity between, as we mentioned, COPD and related diseases, bronchitis, asthma, things like this. It's the number 3 leading cause of death in the United States. But if you look at the amount of money that is invested in research, again, I pulled some statistics off the National Health Institute website. And for COPD, in 2012, it was about $101 million spent on COPD research. In 2015, that number dropped to $97 million, in spite of the rise in the incidence of COPD.
Wow.
How do you explain that? Follow the money trail, right? If you look at other diseases, the sexier ones, the ones that get, for instance, diabetes. Now, diabetes on the list of leading causes of death is behind COPD, accidents, stroke, and Alzheimer's. Yet, money spent on diabetic research is over $1 billion annually.
Wow.
Now, and I'm not, please don't think I'm not. I don't want your callers to say, well, you don't like diabetics.
No. That's not it.
That's not it at all.
That's not it
at all.
No.
All I'm suggesting is that
we need more monies going into that for research.
Right. Grant programs. I read sometimes about some of the things that some programs that are funded by grants, and massaging rabbits, really?
I don't know.
And I just wonder, what can be done to maybe increase the amount of money going toward grants. I'm no grant writer. I'm a respiratory therapist.
Right.
But I know that something so it's an awareness has to be developed so that more attention is given to this.
Yes.
Because these people can live productive lives.
Yes.
And much happier lives with just a little bit of help.
Yeah, a little bit more air.
A little bit more air.
Breathe if you can. Well, that's so good. I really do appreciate all the information that you gave to us today, and also, All County Healthcare Inc. is, as you said, the only company that has brought this machine in and that has been doing such great work with it. So it's been in there for 3 years now?
More than 3 years.
More than 3 years,
They
okay.
absorb the cost of acquiring the equipment. They absorb the cost of the disposal supplies that go along with it.
Wow.
That all comes out of what they get reimbursed by Medicare for.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is wonderful information. All County Healthcare, if you or a loved one have COPD or any kind of respiratory difficulties, please call. Their toll-free number is 888-717-7170. And I'm going to repeat that. So get your paper out, get your pen out, okay? 1-888-717-7170. Give them a call. They're there to help you. They want to help you. Their whole entire passion happens to be in the quality of their client's life. They want them to be healthy, happy, as best as they possibly can. So give them a call, All County Healthcare. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on with me today, Lorena Anderson.
Thank you for your hospitality.
It is my pleasure, and we are going to be on air live every Tuesday from 6 to 7. Please remember this number. It's not going to change. It is 888 565-1470. And we look forward to you participating in this hour-long presentation by AMP TV, AMP2 TV, and sponsored by All County Healthcare Agency, a certified home care agency, living longer and healthier. Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show, call AMP2 TV at 866-244-5422, and we will put you on the air as soon as possible. Tune in next week for more information on living longer and having a healthier life.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those